What is a woman? Can you tell me that? Well, you're at the Women's March. You must have some idea.
I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is? You don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids or... I care about the truth. I care about children. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them.
The interview's over. Just turn off the cameras.
Excuse me.
For their fair question, I just wanted to know, what is a woman?
And you're not going to find out.
Please, if one person could tell me what a woman is.
You are not here for women. We ask you to leave.
What is that?
I don't know, Matt. I'm not a biologist. Alright, welcome back to the channel today, everyone. So, Matt Walsh dives deeper into the trans debate with a new documentary on thedailywire.com, asking the question heard around the world that the left still can't answer: what is a woman? Before I get into this, a message from our sponsor, the Tuttle Twins books. In a world where teachers seem to prioritize teaching wokeness to your kids, you have to take your child's education into your own hands. The Tuttle Twins have books that teach them history, sound money, personal freedoms, and more. Use the link in the description and get your books today. As well, Freedom Fest is right around the corner. Get $50 off your tickets using the code TRANSFORM50 and then come hang out with me in Vegas. What is a woman? That is the name of the Matt Walsh documentary, in which he goes around, asks multiple people to define it. And he does interviews with a wide range of people with different backgrounds and cultures. Now, if you don't know, this was kind of spurred on by Matt's appearance on the Dr. Phil show when he asked a non-binary person to define it, and they couldn't.
Well, can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Because it's not for me to say. Woman?
You stood up here and said trans women are women.
Yes.
Tell me what you mean. What is a woman?
So here's the thing. So I do not define what a woman is because I do not identify as a woman. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
that describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
Identify as what?
As a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity. And
I've discussed this instance on many occasions in the past. I mentioned it in my Intro to Queer Theory video, as well as multiple other interviews I did like right at the time that it happened. And I am not a fan of Matt Walsh. I don't know. I'm kind of like with him. I disagree with him on a lot of issues, but he's actually he's correct in this situation. Like, absolutely correct. Like, the two non-binary people, like, if a word is up to the person who identifies as it to define it, then it means nothing, because it can mean anything to anybody. So basically they are erasing what the word woman means. Me as a trans individual,
you use trans individual.
Yes. So I do not go off of this mindset that trans women are women. I say trans women are trans women because, and it's an important distinction. As a trans woman, I don't have the same lived experience as a biological female. And right off the bat, if you're wondering what my answer would be, here's a tweet I had a few months ago, and I just wrote some definitions. Woman equals adult human female. Trans woman, male with gender dysphoria who transitions and lives as a woman. Non-binary, gender non-conforming individual who can't define the previous two because they would show their ideology is based on sexist stereotypes. And let me add that none of these are wrong. I have a different lived experiences than a female. It would be erasing the struggles that I have gone through in dealing with gender dysphoria and transitioning to say that I am the same as a woman. And I also want to point out, I do have some non-binary friends who I respect, and they don't shout at me for explaining my views, which are different from theirs. But they are more on the side of liberty and more live and let live type people, which is much different than the people I talk about on this channel. they respect how I live my life and how you live yours, and so I would choose to respect them. Now back to the documentary. Now I want to reiterate that I've had my differences on multiple issues with Matt Walsh. His views on depression and anxiety being a fake mental illness, or kind of how he put it, is one example, among other socially conservative areas that he believes, and I believe more in the libertarian mindset. However, I have generally agreed on his points on trans issues, to which I think would surprise most people, being who I am. I may not like his tactics / trolling, but they are effective in getting the point across and raising awareness on the actual issue at hand. And so really coming into this, I didn't know what to expect. I saw the trailer a couple weeks ago and it was very compelling. I almost did a video on it by itself. Also, I'm not going to play any clips in this video that were not in the trailer, but I think you should actually go watch the documentary for yourself and not just take my word for how it was. As well as I respect the Daily Wire as a publication and their right to make money off of this film, and so you can go watch it on their platform. You can pay for it just like I did. But with the trailer being so good, I hope the full video was just as good. And I have to tell you that it was actually really well done. And it was basically the perfect way to kick off Pride Month. Now that's besides the fact that the site seemed to go down and nobody could actually watch the video, but that could also just be because of the sheer volume of people that were really wanting to watch the show. And I'll say it was funny at times and then sad and eye-opening at other times. He did a good job of interviewing a wide range of people on both sides of the issue, academics as well as just normal everyday people. And he did a really good job of just letting the people that he was interviewing speak, which is the sign of somebody who's good at what they do, and Matt Walsh is a good interviewer. Now, I gotta say that the Star Wars shop owner was probably my favorite person in the video. He seemed to be just your typical American, but he's also not afraid to say what he thinks. And then he even clarified in here that he has never had an issue with LGBT people until the new council person in their city came and like yelled and accosted him and called him transphobic and all these other names. And this is who I'm talking about from the trailer.
You're not a scientist. You're not a gender studies major.
No.
How do you know that you're a man?
I guess because I got a dick.
And I love that clip because he kind of just shows you that there was a simpler time when it wasn't this hard to determine, you know, what is a woman or what is a man. And that's a different generation ago. And now we have a new society which is having all sorts of issues because we can't even agree on what used to be known as basic truths. Now, I also love that Matt spoke with one of Leah Thomas's teammates, and I just find it's very disgusting what the school did to those girls. They basically told them to sit down and shut up. And obviously this person was anonymous in the video because I'm assuming she's still on the swim team, and if she was to be known that she was speaking out, that she would basically lose her scholarship. And again, that's a travesty. They should be able to speak out and explain what happened behind the scenes that we didn't all see in society. And I think that she did a great job and kind of just giving an overview of, you know, how the administration covered for Leah, and a lot of it was based on the school was winning. But she was a great person for Matt to interview for this. I think it was really good. And it was very telling when you see like the academics who teach this woke stuff that they can't even answer the simple questions. And not just the question, what is a woman? And for that question, if they do, it was kind of the same thing as we always heard, is it's how you feel. We always get that, or they deflect to say, you know, what does it matter? But it matters a lot, and we should be talking about this because it has to do a lot with kids. And I think the documentary did a good job of steering it mostly into the direction of what we're doing to children and how we are treating children as well. And one of the academics even said that wanting to know the truth was being condescending and rude, basically admitting that they are a postmodernist teacher. And the whole dialogue in that spot was very, again, it was very eye-opening. It was very telling as to the way that some of these people think and to how they don't believe in absolute truth. And I think that was a pivotal moment that really stood out to me in the video. Now, I think the man on the street segments pulled a lot of it together, because it's interesting when you just talk to regular everyday people, it seems like many of them know how they want to answer, but they know that they shouldn't answer it, or they should explain it in a way that's politically correct. Especially being on camera, they know that these types of videos get out there, and so they can't just speak openly like the Star Wars shop guy did. And I think it was very balanced. He spoke with a trans man who had an amazing story, as well as with people who have been highlighting the issues of queer ideology for a long time. Deborah So, for example, who I've spoke about many of times and I have great respect for as well, author of End of Gender, which is a great book, and if you haven't read it, you should actually go read that book as well, because she's very balanced in her coverage on the issues as well. You know, overall, I think the documentary was a good compilation of gender ideology and the shifts of gender ideology and the issues that we've talked about for, the last 5 years, and how it's shifted into the mainstream. And so the topics, they really weren't a surprise to me, though I even learned some stuff about the history of queer ideology. As I am deeply involved in this space and I've studied queer theory, this was even a little bit shocking to me. There was stuff that I didn't even know in it. So I think everybody can go in there and learn some stuff. I do think it'll be very eye-opening with people that don't pay much attention to trans issues when they go and watch it. And I will also say that I do appreciate Matt's dry humor. I tend to come off with very dry humor myself. So, and so the way that he asked some of these questions, in these leading questions and some of these interviews, it was very well done, and I can appreciate Matt's humor in some of those cases as well. And to close this out, I do encourage everyone to watch it for yourselves. Decide for yourself what you think about it. Don't take my word for it. Actually watch it. And I would love to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Then click that like and subscribe button below. Go support our sponsors. Follow me across all social media platforms, and I will see you next time.